Good evening, Crypt Keepers, and welcome to Cryptique, where we discuss all things paranormal, occult, UFOs, metaphysical, hidden history, forbidden archaeology, and all things truther. I'm joined by my co-pilot, Ryan. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. It's a nice day here in St. Louis. It was like 65-ish when I was out just a few minutes ago.
Perfect temperature to spend a half an hour cleaning dog poop up in my backyard. Sweet.
Yeah, I live, I think I've told you before, there's a lot of geese around here. And our dogs are little, so it's like, once you pick up the dog shit, the goose shit's there too. It's like, I think I'll just leave it all.
It's fertilizer.
There's a lot of nature around here. It doesn't really build up. Whatever naturally happens to it, like that you don't see it in the woods, like that's happening to it here, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
Either that or they go over to the neighbors' houses and do it there, which is also fine.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, you want to tell them what they need to know real quick before we jump into this?
Yeah, if you guys want to help support us, please interact with the podcast on whatever platform you're using, whether that's YouTube or Apple Podcast, Spotify, something like that. It all helps us out with the algorithm, helps us stand out, lets the algorithms know that more people should hear this. But it always helps to share it with somebody who you think will like it.
For sure.
And if you have recommendations, feedback, anything, we'd like to hear it at cryptiquepodcast@gmail.com. You can see our designs over at cryptiquepodcaststore.com, and you can help us with a little donation to keep the servers running at buymeacoffee.com/cryptiquepi.
And
Did I miss anything?
Well, no.
Okay.
You're good. You covered it all. I do want to say thanks to Brittany S. and Cindy E. for interacting on YouTube and the podcast. So thank you so much. And we appreciate your listenership or viewership, depending on if you're doing YouTube or just audio. So tonight we have another video extravaganza planned. So we're going to analyze 10 videos and kind of tell you what we think. We'll give you the background that we have, and then you guys can let us know what you think. So with that being said, do you want to go ahead and play the first video?
Yeah.
I'll go over the background info for like the first 30 seconds. And then I think the second 30 seconds, we have their actual audio on there. So,
okay.
All right. So this is in Birmingham, England, or Birmingham, as they probably say it. This was actually 2 weeks ago. And this is Jamie Grant and his partner. They're walking their dog in the park. They see a UFO silently hovering in the sky. It looks like a sizable floating orb. They thought it was maybe a star or a planet, but then they noticed it moving quickly across the sky. And they got some of the sighting on film. And there's not really any other flashing
Seriously, like there's that is a UFO, man. I'm telling you now. I don't anybody says that's listening to this. There is no other flashing lights on that. It is literally just a glowing ball. It is literally just a glowing ball. It's the urn. Look, it's fading away.
You in the clouds?
Nah, that's faded. You can see the other stars. You can tell it's not fading. I can see the stars.
All right.
Just makes that so much better.
Absolutely. So, yeah, they say it appears to be fading away, and they say it definitely wasn't a plane, helicopter, or a drone because they've seen enough of those to know what they look like. To me, it looks like the camera's moving a lot, and it's probably because they're zoomed in as much as they can. But I don't think that the motion that's in the video is the actual object moving. I think that the object is there, and then they say it's fading away, but I don't think that it's like in the video. It makes it look like it's jumping around real fast. And what do you think on that?
It looked well. I think I got what you're seeing, that it looks like it's mostly them moving the camera, like it's in this relatively the same place.
Mhm.
But it does look like maybe it's like shifting or doing some kind of small motion. But again, that could be just the movement of the camera and the way it's. I mean, there's no other light basically, so the camera would be having a hard time picking that up and keeping it nice and sharp.
Yeah.
But it's pretty convincing since I don't see any stars, I don't see the moon. There's, not a ton of light pollution. Although when they pull back,
Yeah.
you can see that there are like streetlights and things in the area. Like it's not totally pitch black. I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit convinced by this because I've tried to use like a phone camera to take a picture of like stars or whatever when I'm out,
Hmm.
further from the. When you grow up near a city and you're out in the country and all of a sudden you can see all the stars, you're like, oh my God, like I should
Yeah.
take a picture so I remember what this looks like. And even a big object, even the moon, when the moon seems huge to us, it's still a little speck when you try
Right.
to take a picture.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's different things that this could be. One of the things, assuming that it's not the object moving around, that it could be, and then you see, another thing to the left there, at, towards the end of the video, but it could be as simple as that it's some like a floating lantern, like a Chinese lantern, and that's
Mm,
why it's fading as opposed to like ducking behind clouds. It could be, going out, or it could be that the light from a candle is not going to be able to be picked up as it goes higher. So that it looks like it's fading into uh, nothingness, but it's really just too far away for the light from the candle to show up on the camera, or to their eyes even.
yeah, I buy that that's not a drone or anything.
I mean, the witnesses seem like they believe it. I don't think that it's a lie on their part. I don't think that it's something that they're spoofing or hoaxing.
No, I
I
don't think so either. I was gonna say before I started choking, I used to have it sitting right around this desk somewhere, but in like a Pelican case somewhere, I have a drone, and I noticed that at night it has different colored lights to show you like which side of it is which, so you can orient it, and they flash.
Mhm.
That's the other thing, and like all of them do that. I mean, it may be different in the UK because there may just be different rules around how small aircraft like that work. But one that would be able to go up that high, I would think would need those markers, just like a plane or a helicopter would have.
Yeah, but somebody could also just put a little piece of tape over those lights and make it completely, you know, without any flashing red or blue or green lights or anything. But, when
Maybe.
you get that high up, it's like, well, how are you going to tell what your drone's doing then?
Right. Even
Like
if
you
you have a
just,
camera, if it's so dark, how can you see through the screen for it to tell where you're at?
and
Like
if
I've
you're
flown
looking,
mine at night to like look at fireworks and stuff like that because that's actually something I found years ago that's kind of fun. Is during the 4th of July, if you have a drone and you send it up and just have it like spin and look, you'll see
Mhm.
them all over the place, like way more than you would think are around. But I used like GPS for that. I just set mine, stay exactly in this spot, but go up a
Mhm.
1,000 feet, spin around, and then come back down because it's super disorienting at night.
Yeah, I mean, are you gonna, and I know drone technology has come a long way, but if
Mhm.
you're putting a drone up, 1,500, 2,000 feet, whatever, I mean, we can't really tell how high this thing is, but do you want to cover the lights up and be like, if I lose the drone, I lose the drone. Hopefully somebody will video it and think it's a UFO. I mean, that doesn't make sense either.
No, I
So,
think they saw something. I just don't know
mhm.
what it is. I mean, it's a UFO.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what it is.
It is a UFO. There's just not enough info in the video to confirm or deny, in my opinion. But yeah, I think drones eliminated. Obviously, it's not, an aircraft, a conventional aircraft anyway.
Right, right. Yeah,
But
because you would definitely hear that.
yeah,
I
so
mean, you hear. I don't know if a helicopter would even be high enough to just look like a dot like that. I don't know. Anyway, you want to move on to the next one?
yes, video two is the Mexican creepy eye. This is from Saltillo, Mexico. This was earlier this month in a mechanic shop, and the worker notices a mysterious eye watching from a hole in the wall. And they were disturbed and they investigated. And yeah, they found that what you are seeing right now. And they were taken aback. They tried to kind of get a reaction from the eye by hitting the wall and stuff, but
Mhm.
it doesn't respond and it stays, fixed on the room watching them. Um, and then there's another video that's from the outside of the building that shows that there's no holes in the wall or anything like that. Um, Obviously, this video is going to go viral. People are suggesting it could be an owl, a cat, a demon, or supernatural entity. Uh, but it is a frogger, one way or the other, because it's hiding out in their structure. It it does not look to me like there's enough space back there. Like you kind of see that there's an overhang, but it doesn't look
Yeah.
like there's enough
Let me
space for
see.
someone to fit in there.
See if I can
Um,
pause this. Get a view of it. Yeah,
yeah,
it looks like it's I don't know, maybe part of an old mantle or something.
yeah, it definitely does not look like an owl or a cat eye to me at all. Um, it's very creepy, but I don't know what it could be. They don't seem to be as scared as I think I would be. Like if I saw something, and you can play it, um, if I saw something like that, I would be freaked the fuck out. That does not look like a cat, and I can't imagine that a cat or an owl would just sit there and watch while you've got a bright flashlight right in their eye, and you're pretty close. I mean, to me, I see clearly eyelids. Um,
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah, I mean,
so bizarre.
my first thought was cat because of the space. Like, if there's
Mhm,
gonna be a hollow spot back there, a cat could potentially fit in there.
mhm.
And cats sometimes do kinda stay pretty cool even when they've been spotted. My buddy had this cat that we referred to as ceiling cat. They had a drop ceiling in the basement, and this one cat would, like, get up there, and it would just pop up thing and, like, peer down at you.
Mhm.
And even when we noticed it, it would kinda just watch us for a minute to be like, "Alright, you found me this time," before it would take off. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, the first thing I thought was this looks like I mean, it looks like an animal eye, but I don't know
you
what.
think? See, I think
Is
it
it
looks like a demonic eye. I don't think it looks like a cat at all. And I wish that I mean, I don't blame them for not getting closer, but I wish they would get closer so we could maybe have some sort of idea of how big that hole is. Because if
Yeah,
that
and how big
hole's
the eye is.
4 inches across, that's a big difference than if it's 10 inches across. That changes the size of the anomaly that we're seeing in the video.
Mhm.
So, and we can't even really, like, the brickwork isn't, I guess, modern enough that we could tell by kind of analyzing how big the bricks are in the wall or anything like that.
Yeah, it almost looks like a stone facade where
Yeah.
they'll put up, like, plaster against something and then put stonework on it.
Yeah, yeah. And you're right, cats can be total sociopaths. Like, I mean, I've seen a cat fight like a 10-foot alligator and just be like, "Psh, I will smack your nose and I'm not moving."
I
And
feel
that
like
you
I feel like the iris and the pupil are not taking up as much room in the eye as I would expect
from a human eye or
for a cat eye. Like most animal eyes, I don't know, I feel like for the most part there's not as much white to it as there is for a
Mhm.
person. Like with a person, you can almost always see the whites around the iris, and with animals, not always. Like that's why Curly, my dog, looks so creepy at night because he looks like a black-eyed dog.
Hmm.
Like if I get up, walk down the hall, and I'm about to go into the bathroom, and I turn and look, and I just see this little thing sitting there with these big black eyes. It's like, are we cool? Are you a screen memory right now?
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that the lack of running the hell away
Hmm.
says something to me because they don't seem to be as concerned about it as I think I would be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, this could be hoaxed for sure. They have the other video, but I mean, do we know for sure that's the real place? I mean, that would be easy to hoax too.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I'm going demon here for sure. 100% demon, Ryan. What are you saying?
I'm gonna say some kind of cat, but that's basically the same thing, in
Right.
my opinion. So
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think. This is a creepy one. Could be hoaxed. If it's not hoaxed, it's scary as fuck.
yeah, it is.
And if it's not a cat or an owl or whatever, this thing it looks scary as hell to me. It looks like almost like there's gray skin on it too. So, but yeah, let us
Wow.
know what you guys think, and we will move on to video number
It
3.
it almost looks like a person in like cat makeup, like for the Broadway show.
Crazy cat lady.
All right,
All
on to
right.
number 3.
Sí, cocina vos, cocina por ahí.
We'll listen to them first.
No te gano, porque así yo con mamila no ando. ¿Verdad?
Did you see it? Okay.
Was
So
it that white
yeah,
shroud looking?
yeah. We'll go past it again here in just a second. Um,
Oh my god, yeah. No,
yeah,
I did not see that clearly. That's totally a figure standing there.
yeah. So this one is from Jorco Mole, Argentina. This is fall of last year. It was about 11 at night. They went on a late night bicycle ride on a wooded trail, which, like, I don't even really like night hiking, but I
Mhm.
would not ride a motor or a mountain bike at night, through the woods. So these two cyclists, they pass what appears to be a woman kind of standing beside the path. It's hard to tell if that person's moving because they're moving towards it or her.
It looks
Uh,
like not. It looks like they're just standing there.
yeah.
But yeah,
Now,
they could be. Oof. Making the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
so they are surprised, and obviously, we're not speaking Spanish, but they greet the woman with no response. To me, it, I mean, again, this isn't in Japan, but it looks like someone wearing like a Sailor Moon outfit or something, like a
It,
Japanese schoolgirl outfit.
see, I was gonna say it does look like a school outfit, like the white polo and the dark pants or skirt or whatever that is.
Hmm.
Because I went to a private school as a little kid, and that was the first thing that looks just
Yeah.
like the uniforms that we had to wear.
Yeah. So the cyclist in front seems to kind like, see that and then just kind of be like, oh, forget this. And, they can't just book off because it's nighttime, but they seem to pick up the pace. Uh, so
Yeah,
this,
they definitely don't slow to like
right.
converse. There's like,
Yeah.
hey, what's up? Okay, just creepy, cool.
Yeah.
We're just
Gone.
gonna boogie out of here.
So, yeah, I mean, it could just be somebody walking on the trail, but that would be really odd. But I mean, if I was on a trail walking at night, I would have a flashlight, of course.
Mhm.
But if I saw mountain bikers, I would also step off the trail so they can, get through without, too much.
Clipping you
What's that?
without getting clipped by them.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty creepy, man. Like I said, I would not be mountain biking in the dark, period. But I don't know. I think that, in my hiking experience and mountain biking experience, pretty much everybody always greets each other. Just even with a
Yeah,
hey, a little
you
wave.
nod, wave, right? Yeah,
Yeah, like,
exactly.
hey, I'm here. Don't be terrified. I'm not a ghost coming out of the woods. But,
Yeah,
and I mean, that
or
doesn't
just on
mean
your right, on your left, whatever. Somebody's trying to
right.
pass you.
Yeah. And this doesn't happen, but that doesn't automatically make it a ghost. What makes it a ghost is who the fuck. I'm sorry.
Who's just
Clip that
standing
out.
there in the middle of the night
Right.
wearing like a private school uniform in the middle of the woods?
Right, exactly. And we don't know if this was a 5 mile ride they went on and they were 3 miles back into the woods, or if this was a trail in a park and they're 50 yards away from the parking lot. So
Mhm.
that would be some more helpful information, I think. But it's pretty scary. And if this happened, I would not go back on that trail probably, unless I was going there specifically to, look for something paranormal.
Right.
But
Totally.
so where you stand on this one, man? Ghost
Uh,
child or
yeah, I think so. I've seen enough of these and heard enough of these stories where you see somebody like that, they're just standing still, and when you look back, they're gone. They're not
Mhm.
responsive to anything. Or like they're on the side of the road when you turn around to like, oh, we should see if that person needs help or whatever. They're not there, but
Yeah.
there's nowhere they could have gone. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's something. I
Yeah,
think it's some kind of apparition.
I'm going ghost too. All right, we ready for number 4?
Hmm.
All right. So this is in Valparaiso, Chile. It's late 2023, and they're filming what's obviously a forest fire.
Hmm.
Now, this is television coverage, so this is a high quality camera. This is not a camera phone. Um, so obviously, you're seeing what they're seeing is appearing to be a giant standing
Yeah,
up kind of out of the fire.
those are treetops.
That's what I was gonna get to. I don't know if those are treetops or if it's brush, and in some of the cases, like, if you're looking at the figure to the left, it almost looks like there's more figures there, and I love how they, have to circle it. It's like, "Yeah, we see it. We see it. We don't need you to put a giant circle around it. We see the giant shadow rising from the burning forest." Uh,
Yeah, what's freaky about it is there are periods where it's blocking the light from like the
mhm.
embers and things around it, and then it looks, yeah, at certain points, like right just there, the light shows through it, and then it's like
Yeah.
it just disappears.
So it doesn't appear to be front lit. Um, but if it's a shadow on smoke, it would have to be front lit, right?
Right, there'd have to be a light source behind a person who would have to be doing all these motions,
Yeah. So,
but we would see other light.
mhm. And so then this thing vanishes. People are saying that it could be an angel, a demon, or other supernatural being because it's so big. But I mean, we've all seen the photos of, like, people where they'll like put their finger like this, right? And then they take the picture at an angle where it looks like they're holding a miniature palm tree in their fingers. And it's just the perspective, right? And
Yeah,
the perspective in this one is playing a role, I think, because it looks like they're shooting uphill to me, first of all, and the trees or brush, if it's brush, it could be 2 foot tall. If it's trees, they could be 75 yards back.
right,
So it's hard to tell without knowing, the orientation of everything.
right.
uh
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell without it being close, like not as close up.
Yeah.
Because what we have a border over here that looks like that's probably the border of like a title card at the bottom of the page, or the
Oh,
bottom of the screen.
I had to zoom in a lot on this one because
Okay.
I mean the news stations, they put up 6 different uh, tiles with information, and follow us on Twitter and blah 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 blah, and then they have someone who's speaking, and they're speaking Spanish, so they're speaking very quickly, and they actually have a sign language interpreter in the corner doing the sign language. It appears to be American Sign Language, but hey, whatever. So this is zoomed in quite a bit. I guess we should have told you guys that. It wasn't to hide anything. It was just to focus on what we're trying to focus on, and not 10 tiles telling you, hey, go to my website and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that
because that was my thought, was like maybe it's hiding something to have posted it like that, but
yeah, no,
maybe
it's
that.
and all these videos are available on YouTube. I mean, you can look them up basically, by the description. It's not difficult. If you want to go see the whole video with the sign language person and all the extra tiles, and hear the lady speaking a mile a minute, then be my guest. Um, so some people think it could be smoke taking on the shape of a person. That doesn't seem likely to me. That would have to be pretty darn intelligent smoke to make the outline of a person. And then there's others that say it's the shadow of a firefighter. Now, let's look at this thing, okay? Because it looks like it's got something. I mean, to me, it looks like a ninja, like it's got a sword on a scabbard on its back. But
Hmm.
that could be some sort of breathing apparatus. It could be some sort of firefighting equipment. It could be a lot of different things. Um, but yeah, I think it's definitely Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow. Uh,
And the Joes just didn't get there yet. That's why he ducks down.
yeah. So let's see. Yeah, some people say it's a ghost. It's just a weird scenario. Um, it's, in my opinion, it's if I had to bet money on it, I would say that it's a firefighter. It could
Yeah,
be that he's going up a hill and he's kind of hunched over to get up the hill, as humans do, especially if they're carrying something heavy on their back. And then he gets to kind of a more level spot where he can stand up, maybe take his axe out, or his rake, or whatever they're doing to try and contain this fire.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and I mean, there's probably heat mirage and all that to deal with too.
yeah. So
Smoke, heat mirage, all that could make it look even more bizarre.
it is super creepy. I just don't think there's enough information to say it's a ghost or a giant or anything like that. Um, if I had to bet money, I'm going firefighter. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I just watched an episode of Expedition X where they were looking at Niagara Falls and they were investigating like shadows that people say they see in the falls. And the most
Mhm.
likely explanation they found was, from one side or the other, there's a light source and a shadow being cast, and it's kind of being caught in the mist.
Mhm.
Because this guy was saying it was like a shadow with light all around it,
Mhm.
making it sound like it's in the middle of the falls and there's like light behind it or like emitting from it. And they were able to sort of reproduce it by having one person stand up near a rail, the other one with a light behind them, and it cast that onto the falls. And then from the other side, it would have looked pretty much like what the guy said he saw. So I think I'm saying all that to say it's probably some weird trick of the light, and with the smoke and everything catching it and distorting it all. I think you're probably right.
And this is one that we can't reenact. Right. I mean, sometimes we can take a video and try and duplicate it to show it being a hoax or something like that. But I mean, unless Ryan wants to go find a forest fire somewhere and try and reenact this, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. Video number 5.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, this was like a 15-second video I had to loop a bunch of times. So this is in Clumber Park in England, and that was earlier this month. This was Hannah Rowett and her husband Dave, and they were going to walk their dogs. And at this point, Hannah said that before she captured this video, she had that sensation of not being alone, which I can interpret is being watched. So now this, I believe, was on her camera phone, but it's good quality. I mean, our camera phones now are so good that there's really no excuses. Except, if you see something, it's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't get my camera out in time.
Mhm.
So it shows this odd white mist, and it kind of looks like it's a figure that kind of goes across the path and then vanishes.
Yeah.
And Hannah told her husband she captured a ghost, and he was scared too. They initially they thought it was the spirit of a dog, and then they now believe that it's a humanoid and possibly demonic.
Yeah,
Um,
the form at first to me looked like a dog. It looked like it was on all fours, but then the more you watch it loop, the more it looks like maybe a chimp.
yeah, that's
Like
good.
it's kind of on back feet for a second with its arms up in the air, but can run like that because it looks like it's running on the trail on 2 feet and then coming back down onto four afterward. To me,
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I totally see that now. I did not before. Um, so now there's people that say this is smoke or fog. Now they say that they don't smoke, so it's not smoke from them. Um, it would be an odd way for smoke or fog to behave. To
yeah, I
me, it
think so too.
looks almost like a giant ghost frog. Like, I mean, I see what you're saying with the chimp, totally, but when I first saw it, I was like, that just looks like a giant frog to me. Like it's doing a hop right there.
Yeah,
But
I can see that too. Yeah, I don't buy that it's just smoke
yeah, it's
because
a
why would it be moving from side to side instead of up or in random directions, and why would it be so localized?
well, you would think that fog or smoke would move together. It wouldn't
Mm,
like jump like that. Um, so I'm
yeah,
going frog fog.
I'm going chimp fog.
All right. I
I
think
think it's some kind of chimp ghost.
that's an interesting video. Since it's, like I said, like 15 seconds, 20 seconds, I don't think that it's hoaxed. I mean, that would be harder to hoax than it would be to capture a real ghost, in my
Why
opinion,
did she have her camera out in the first place?
because she felt like she was being watched.
Oh, so it was just a feeling that prompted her to get
Yep.
that in the light out and be like, something's around here.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think that that's also an anomaly, and I I'm not going to say 100% ghost or spirit or demon or whatever, but I think that she captured something paranormal.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
for sure.
I go paranormal on that one. You ready for number 6, brother?
No.
Oh, this is a good one. Just let it play out first here. So there's some interesting stuff in this video. Let's hear him talk first.
¿No te sabes la historia de Gabino? No, ahorita me la cuenta.
I mean, that sounds Spanish, right? Now, what the hell is in the sky behind him? Why are their faces blurred? I don't know what year this, doorbell cam came out, but if this is anything that's somewhat modern, y'all need to get a new doorbell because that's unacceptable. I know when people,
Yeah, this doesn't look. It doesn't look like anything's happening to their faces that wouldn't be explained by just a bad quality camera. Probably the camera had a much wider field of view and they've zoomed in on it.
well, I did zoom in on this one too, because I wanted to get a close up of
Yeah.
their faces. Now, let me go through this real
¿Contestas
quick.
la
So
historia
this
del
is in
gabino?
California, doorbell cam. Uh, and I guess, can you mute it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I had done that when I put the video together. But anyway, so okay, so let's just say, all right. So doorbell cam blurs the uh, faces. That's fine. I can go with that. Um, Now, it sounds like they're speaking Spanish. If they were speaking Latin, I'd be like, holy shit, what's going on here? But it sounds Spanish. But behind them, this thing just appears in the air. And you see it? You see the
Mm,
big black thing behind them?
yeah. I don't know what that is. The way the camera, I mean, the camera is adjusting its,
Focus?
yeah, well, its focus and its, like its exposure. I
Okay.
don't know what what a camera like this would have to do that. I don't know if it's something physically moving or something with the way the sensors registering the light.
Hmm.
And I wonder if that changed because you see like part of the trees were blown out before and now they're visible, but
Hmm.
also whatever that thing is visible too. And it just
I,
sort of it's like it just shows up and the camera notices it and then like adjusts its white balance. Like, oh, there's something else there. Or not white balance exposure. God. I didn't
yeah.
have a Red Bull this morning.
Now, there's people that are saying that this is, people are just overreacting, but and I would think that too. And I can dismiss the blurred images of their faces, but
Mhm.
people are saying that, oh, that's just a black balloon behind them. And it's like, I mean, if you want
Yeah,
to come up with something, but I don't think it's a balloon because it's not swaying at all. And it would, I mean, even if it was like tethered in their front yard, I mean, you see the wind blowing the uh, shrubs and stuff. You would think that the thing would move at least a little bit if it were a balloon.
yeah, one of
I,
my first thoughts was like water tower or something off in the distance, but why would it be black? Like the fact that it's so dark in color just doesn't make sense to me.
yeah.
That's
So,
that's what makes it so it's either I mean, I've had really cheap cameras um basically show up a black dot where the sun should be.
hmm,
Because I've bought, just for grins, like really cheap cameras off of Wish and
Timu or
stuff like
something.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is a
just be like, oh,
Timu
does
doorbell
this
cam.
does this $5 GoPro thing actually work well? And it's no, it doesn't. But
No.
it shouldn't have like it's not doing it here, and then it just appears. So what is that? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
So I think that maybe the paranormal part of this video is what's being captured in the background. Now,
Mhm.
if I mean these maybe these are men in black. Maybe that's their spaceship. It could be. But more than likely they are some sort of government representation that is like reaching out in the community. Maybe these people, it could be something as simple as like, hey, they're getting aid to take care of their kids, and these are people that are coming in to be like, okay, you've got 4 foster kids, let's check their living conditions or something like that.
Mm.
I mean, that seems
Actually,
more
yeah,
likely
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
because
yeah. I don't know if there's a link between what's behind them
mhm,
and that, because they don't act like Men in Black.
I wouldn't think that they would be necessarily speaking Spanish to each other.
Well, and they're a little fidgety. They're moving around. They're looking at each other. They have messenger bags.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, to me, they just look, I mean, they could be, uh, I think that it's something to do with uh, a
some kind of
government
community outreach.
agency. Yeah. Yeah. Or just even a government agency. I don't, and when I say government agency, I don't mean like CIA, Black Ops, or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah,
a
it's like
mundane,
Department of Human Services
yeah.
or the public safety or something like that. Like, hey, there's a boil order on in this
Mm.
area. Like, there's a water main break.
And it's in California. I mean, it could be in don't take this the wrong way, people. It could be something where they're checking for like documentation on immigrants or seeing if there's uh, an operation where they're, hiding 30 illegal aliens that are going to, then go their separate ways or whatever. There's a lot of possibilities. And um, if this person that recorded this was like, yeah, I reported a UFO 2 weeks ago to the police, then I would say, oh, well, hey, let's look deeper into this. But I don't think that it warrants a whole lot of other investigation. I don't know what the black object is behind them, but I think that is the paranormal aspect of this video.
Yeah, I
So
agree. And that's
definitely
super
men in
creepy.
black that are coming to abduct them.
They definitely caught a UFO
Yeah, it's interesting. So I don't know.
for
It would
sure.
be interesting, to me, more interesting anyway, if the men in black, quote unquote, didn't show up and the doorbell cam was like activated by that, you know, coming into existence or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That would have been if it was like this was where it detected motion, like this thing
Right.
coming in, and it's not, there's no, there'd be less opportunity for somebody like me to go, no, this is adjusting exposure. Now you can see this thing that was probably already there.
Yeah.
Although it's still, what is that?
Yeah.
Is that what happened? And what is that thing?
It's difficult to expect a camera that's really most likely designed to go, maybe 20 feet, 15 feet, 30 feet, something like that, and then try and deduce what could be a mile away. It turns into Super Mario graphics when you get into that. So
Totally.
ready for number
Number 7.
7? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We'll just watch it one time through real quick. York, England. So obviously, this is a riderless bicycle rolling across a street. Uh, Now, some people say it was a ghost, and others are skeptical. Now, this is a security camera, and this is overlooking a medieval road, is how it's described, um, called the Shambles. So, um, and this is fairly recent too. I didn't get a date, but I know it was 2023. So this bike comes out from a side street, crosses a cobblestone road before toppling over. And some people talk about it being in York because York is supposed to be the most haunted city in Europe, believe it or not.
I
Uh,
didn't even know that.
there is an apparition that's seen in this area frequently that they call the Lost Boy. And I didn't find any other videos on him, but, like, when you type in Lost Boy on YouTube, it's like every Peter Pan thing you could possibly imagine, and then when you get through that, it's, 80s vampire stuff.
Kiefer
Uh,
Sutherland in a trench coat, that kind of thing.
yeah. So, some people think the bike could have been pushed by a person off camera. Um, I would say totally. If the bike was I mean, we've all seen bikes and motorcycles go on their own, and I don't even think science can really explain that yet, but, they definitely can travel on their own, but generally, they're going pretty quick,
They need enough
when they're
centrifugal
going.
force to keep that balance, yeah.
I
It's like
think
the wheels have to be going fast enough to kinda wanna keep going in that same axis. I would assume, I think that's how it works.
yeah, I mean, that's what I would think as well. Now, this one is going really slow. Now, it
Mhm.
could be because it's from a security camera, and we don't know how good the quality is of the security camera. You can, buy a used security camera from a 1980s 7-Eleven, or you can go to a place and spend $1,500 on a camera that, is just state of the art. We don't know, and it's hard to tell that it's cobblestone. They say it's cobblestone, but that would make it more difficult for a bike to continue on its path if it's hitting
Especially if it's
bumps.
just pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's being guided. It looks
Mhm.
like somebody's holding it. Like, I kinda thought maybe it's being pulled by strings or something like that, but the way it stops against the curb
Yeah.
so well, because I feel like if you had it on strings, it would, like, hit that curb and then kind of tilt a lot more than it does, like, it'd be a lot less stable.
Mhm.
It looks like somebody's holding on to it and walking with it, and then they just let it go.
It does, and, there's the, green screen suits that people wear sometimes and stuff like that. It's just hard because we don't have all the information. Um, it
Yeah.
makes it difficult, but I think that, so this Lost Boy, he appears and disappears. He looks shocked to see you, and he is supposed to show up in the same 5 or 6 places in the city, and this is one of those places.
Mhm.
He's called the Lost Boy, and there's not really much information on, his background or even theories. It's just there's a lost boy ghost that runs around here, and this could be it. To me, it could be faked, but the person that has the security footage would have to be in on it for sure, because they would have to turn that, footage over to the person who's hoaxing it. And
Yeah.
it could be faked, but I think it would be really hard to do. I'm going Lost Boy.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Looks
Lost Boy
creepy as
it
shit,
is.
and I don't see any obvious evidence that anything's been tampered with.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. I wish that we had security video from the side street that the thing came from.
Mhm.
And if I was there and this was my video that I captured on my surveillance, first thing I would do is go to my neighbor down the street and be like, "Hey, buddy, can you check your camera at 4 p.m. on whatever date and see if you have a person pushing a bike or if a bike just stands up on its own and goes around the corner."
Yeah, it just takes off on its own.
So I don't know, man. Creepy. I think it's the Lost Boy. You ready for number 8? Numero
Yep.
ocho.
Ocho.
This is in Lake Tianqi, I think is how you say it. It
Mm,
translates to Heaven Lake in China. So we see a serpent-like creature. Now, the witness was Miss Lee, and she is from Shanghai, and she was vacationing. So she
mm.
heard a curious sound coming from the water and spotted a long silver creature. Now, she estimated it at 50 feet, but if you're looking at something in a body of water, it's hard to tell. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, if it's 15 feet, that's pretty darn big. Now, this is obviously on a cell phone. Um, People are like, "Oh, yep, see, the Loch Ness monster's real too," and Champ and Ogopogo, they're all real. Uh, so there are a lot of sightings in this area. It's called the Heaven Lake Monster, and there was another sighting in 2020. Um, I couldn't find the video for it, but apparently there's video on that one too. So if you find it, Crypt Keeper, send it to us and we will
Yeah.
check it out. Um,
Or leave
it's
a link to it in the comments of this video or podcast or
yeah,
whatever.
absolutely. So when I see these, to me, it always goes to a giant eel. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can think of that's serpentine like that, that doesn't have to come up for air every, 5 minutes, because we see all these lake monster things and they're like, "Oh, it's a reptile." And it's like, well, how come it's never hardly seen then? I mean, it has to come up for air like an anaconda can hold its breath for 10 minutes.
Hmm.
So I mean, if you're talking about something that breathes air, I don't know what a caiman or something could do. They might be able to stay under longer, and then there's, aquatic mammals that may be able to stay under a little bit longer. But if you're talking about a reptile, I just don't see it. And there's not really. I mean, even like crocodiles and stuff, they're aquatic reptiles, but they're seen all the time because they do have to come up for air. And
Mhm.
again, if we're going to Bigfoot, we're talking about, oh, this could be a very, very, very clever, smart being. But if you're talking about a reptile, you're not talking about something that is consciously trying to hide evidence of it coming up for oxygen.
Yeah.
Um, but in any case, I mean, it looks like something is there. It does not look like a wave. It looks like it's well over 15 to 20 foot long. I don't know about 50 foot because we don't have enough to compare it to, because we don't even know how far the trees are away on the other shore.
Well, and is it possible that it's some kind of piece of equipment that's underwater? Because
Hmm.
well, I guess you'd see something near it. There's a neighborhood that a friend of mine used to live in. They had a lake in the middle of the neighborhood, and the lake was, I think it was man made, but they cleaned it. Like they had some kind of water cleaning system. I have no idea what it was, but there'd be like this little boat thing, kind of like a pool cleaner.
Hmm.
This thing was like where the generator was for it, but there was like a hose and something else running around, and it just sort of randomly tried to keep the water mostly free of gunk because a lot of people swam in it. I really don't know if there were any fish or any wildlife in it, but yeah, it was like you would just see this thing under the water every once in a while. But then you'd also see like, oh, there's the little boat
Hose.
that it's running from. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
okay.
yeah, and there's the hose going into the water for it. So I don't know. Maybe this is some piece of hose that's underwater that's being used for something, but I don't know. Given the way the video looked, there's not much around there. Like it doesn't look like an industrial area where you'd expect a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, and if they were to say, "Oh, it's some kind of dredging machine or something like
Hmm.
that," then I would listen. But they're not trying to clean anything in China, dog. They don't care. It's
Yeah.
it's not something to clean with. Um, but yeah, I think that these sightings, and I know, people really love Nessie and Champ and Ogopogo and all that. I think that they're all some giant eels that just maybe haven't been discovered yet. That's my opinion on pretty much all of them. Um, Now that's, I've got to dismiss some of the sightings that people have had where they say this thing came out of the water or whatever. But in my opinion, most of these sightings are going to be some sort of giant eel. And I think eels may even have indeterminate growth. So, I mean, what that means is they just never stop growing if there's enough food and space for them.
Mm,
So,
hmm
and it could be maybe these are some sort of eel that lives to be 100 and it just keeps growing or something
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah, I would say eel or maybe fish. A bunch of fish in a row, maybe big ones.
could be. I think this is a really good video though, and I think that in my opinion, this is a real lake monster, but I think it's an eel that hasn't been discovered yet.
Yeah,
Ready for number 9?
I am. I'm just looking at the
Alright.
titles for them. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder what that's going to be like.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a my computer purposely put in some suspense there for us.
All right. So this is in, oh gosh, Popocatépetl volcano in Puebla, Mexico. This is a webcam. So again, we just don't know about the quality. Um,
Mm,
so this is supposed to be 18 lights appearing to exit from the volcano. Now these are glowing objects and they're coming out of the smoke from this crater volcano. Um, Now, obviously, UFO enthusiasts are like, oh, it's definitely UFOs, which it is. But they also say it's definitely alien spacecraft,
right.
which it may not be.
Could be ultra terrestrials. I mean, they
So,
could be coming out of a volcano layer.
yeah, I mean, it could be absolutely. Now,
Those they look like old school cigar shaped UFOs
yeah, yeah. So now there's people that are like, oh, it's Starlink. I'm like, come on, man, that's not Starlink.
coming
It's
out of a
not.
volcano.
Right. It's one of those things where people, oh, it's well, we can't say it's swamp gas. Starlink. Everything's Starlink now. Um, so they're saying that they're coming from behind the volcano, which gives the illusion of them coming
Yeah.
out. To me, it doesn't look like Starlink at all. I don't know a lot about Starlink, and I mean, it just doesn't look like it to me. What it looks like to me, and I know that they're not coming out in a perfect straight line, but it looks like artillery fire. I mean, it just
Kind of
looks
does,
like
yeah.
when
Really,
you see them shoot the Tomahawk missiles or whatever, like 6 or 7 of them within, a couple seconds of each other.
yep, yep, and they're not perfectly, like, smooth and cylindrical. There's if we wait for it to get there, it looks like there's, like, a blur around each of them.
Mhm.
That maybe there's, like, a wing or fins that's not being caught.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's super strange. Yeah, I definitely see missiles. I don't see Starlink.
Yeah. And I don't think that the Mexican government is like, "Hey, we gotta find a way to shoot artillery out of volcanoes." Uh,
Yeah,
so
I
I don't know, man. It's very odd. I don't think that there's a chance in hell that this is Starlink, but
no, I
like I
don't think
said,
so either. I think it's probably some kind of craft moving and using this volcanic activity as some kind of cover. Whether they're coming from near it and they're just hoping that the smoke and whatever interferes with it or nobody's going to be around it.
mhm.
I
Well,
think
yeah,
they're
that would make sense. Hey, if we can hide in a volcano, people aren't gonna come into the volcano and look for us. It's odd. It's an odd one.
very
It's hard to say
very
because it's a
strange.
webcam, but
Right. Right. It's hard to say like these little blurs here. Like if you're looking at the top left, the second one down, there's like blurs extending out from it, which could be some kind of structure, some kind of propulsion, but whatever it is, it's moving too fast.
yeah. So I don't think there's enough information on this one, but it is a cool video. And, I want to kind of spread them out a little bit. You know what I mean? A little something of each thing in each video.
Yeah.
So pretty
No, this
cool.
is it's really good. There's not a lot to say about it. It's clearly a formation of UFO, like of cigar-shaped UFOs from the 50s and 60s that are flying out of something. And it's
Yeah.
either because of this volcano or because the volcanic activity caused them to do it, either presented an opportunity or a threat.
Yeah.
That's
And
my
and we can see the trajectory, which is good because if they were coming straight up and then exiting left, then we would be like, holy crap. Is that a Harrier jet? Is that a helicopter? Or is it a UFO? But they are flying at a trajectory that seems in line with what a terrestrial aircraft would take.
Yeah, and what they're capable of too.
Yeah.
It's not
So,
anything super bizarre like the way the Tic Tac moves.
yeah. But I do think that, if this were some sort of, Mexican Air Force craft, that they would come out and say it, because it's
Like,
not
yeah, that
like,
was us.
yeah, well, and it's not like it's something that's so crazy where it absolutely could not be a terrestrial aircraft. So, all right.
Right. Yeah, it's not so outlandish.
Yeah. All right. Diaz. I had to leave the sound in. This is not our creepy music.
What is that?
All right. Can you mute
What are we
it?
looking at? Yeah.
All right. So this is
Looks like the girl from the Ring.
yeah, absolutely. So this is in, and I'm going to say this wrong, but it's Johor Bahru, Malaysia. And we don't have a date on this one. So this was taken by a police officer, and the police officer thinks that this is the legendary vampire ghost known as the Pontianak, not Pontiac, Pontianak. Now, this gentleman's name is Ikmal, I think is how you would say that. Now, he's on patrol with his partner, and he hears puzzling sounds from a prohibited area, presumably the owl-like sounds.
Yeah.
They see this eerie-looking woman dressed in white. It sounds like an owl to me.
Yeah, it does.
So this is from a cell phone again. Now, some people think it's fake, and it's just created to, boost his online presence or whatever. But I mean, that whatever. So Ikmal says the footage is genuine, and he has no reason to fabricate it. And he says that the perceived presence of a Pontianak is a recurring aspect of his job, citing common disturbances at night and early in the morning. He notes that the encounters with these Pontianaks, and you can email us and let me know if I'm saying that wrong too. They've been reported by other people, and they've shared their experiences with the police, even though they don't necessarily have video evidence. In my mind, this totally depends on if you believe the cop. Period.
Yeah. Is this thing flying?
I don't think
Or is
so.
it like up a pole or something?
To me, it looks like he's maybe like opened his car door and he's kind of filming, and
Looks like
again,
out over the hood. Like
yeah,
if you were sitting in the car leaning out over the hood, but like down below, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. It looks like a post behind it, kind of like would be behind the left arm.
yeah.
And then some kind of little fence or structure underneath it that maybe it's standing on, but it also kind of looks like it's just either floating there or like hanging on to that pole.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't look like they're hanging on to the pole, and I think that part at the bottom could be like a reflection of the lights from the vehicle, or even like a reflection from the hood of the vehicle. Um, we wanted to, and we didn't get a chance to do this yet. Maybe you guys can do this. Analyze that sound and see if you can match it to something in Indonesia. a certain kind of owl, maybe some sort of other creature that's making that sound. Now, I don't know enough about the Pontianak to know if they're supposed to make an owl-like sound or not, but it's definitely creepy, and it sounds like a warning. You know what I mean? Like, it
It's
sounds like,
super
"Get
creepy.
out of here, or I am going to suck your blood."
It definitely, to me, looks like it's floating or something. Like the way the camera's moving, and it's not like I don't know. I see what you're saying with the reflection thing, but it looks like it might be. I don't know. Like it's actually just kind of hanging there in the air or suspended by something, and just like
Yeah.
looking, just staring at him, like it's almost like daring him. Like, yeah, come on, come
Yeah.
on over a little bit closer.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that. Now, if this is real, it's really scary.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I think a ghost is a little different because you could have a ghost or spirit or whatever that's maybe a demon and they're awful and they want to, do bad things to you. You could have, an energy that's just replaying its last walk. You could have a little girl that just is lost. You could have a lot of different things. And the difference is if you have what you think is a vampire and you really believe in this and you believe that it's right there, are you going to stand 20 feet away and take video and be like, we'll see if she attacks me and kills me and drinks my blood or not? That's what gets it for me, that it just seems like BS.
Freaks me out. That one freaks me out the most so far,
Really?
even including our last video extravaganza. Well, no, the smoke monster in last one was pretty spooky too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. There's something about that one that bothers me a lot.
Hmm. I think that there's an element of like it doesn't sound, and this may be hard to determine, and this is just kind of my feeling on it. I don't have any science to back this up or anything, but to me it doesn't sound like the sound is coming from in front. It sounds like the sound is coming from like behind or to the left. And maybe that's another vampire out there that's making that sound. It could be, but it could
Mhm.
also be an owl. And we're not able to see like this creature's mouth move as the sounds are being generated. And sometimes that can be a problem with like a lag where it'll show the mouth open and close and then the sound will appear. But
Yeah.
it doesn't appear to me for whatever reason that the sound is coming from this creature. And I bet that there is a slick crypt keeper out there that can match this to a sound either from something that's in Indonesia. I'm sure there's all kinds of birds and even birds that come out at night that
Mhm.
make strange sounds. But um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that someone's going to stand 20 feet away from what they think is a deadly, vampire and just be like, I'm just going to film her for a while. We'll see what happens. So
Yeah.
that's and also the fact that this didn't necessarily come out right after it happened. You know what I mean? So this could be 5 years ago. And if that's the case, that would explain, possibly, well, and also depending on, where they're at, what kind of phones are available, would kind of cover the poor video quality. But I also think like if I film a ghost, that's going on the internet immediately.
I don't
So,
know, man.
well,
I
that's
think it's
all
real.
I got on
I
it.
think that's some creepy ghost vampire shit.
Oh man, I wish that
I'm 100% in on this one.
I'm 100% out. So there we go. All right, we finally found something we totally disagree on.
Mhm.
All right, well, tell us what we got wrong and share your thoughts on these videos. Let us know if you like the episode. Leave a comment or suggestion, a link. Let us know what you think about the different sounds, the different videos. You can do all that at cryptiquepodcast@gmail.com. Obviously, if you're watching this, you can scroll down a little bit and see that the socials are all in the notes. You can check out our slick merchandise at cryptiquepodcaststore.com. And if you enjoy these videos and you want to keep our mics hot, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/cryptiquepi and just give us a little donation to let us know that you're on board with us.
And then you care.
Yeah.
We want to feel
Absolutely.
loved.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to feel loved. All right. Well, let us know what you think, and we will be back soon with something cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Good evening, Crypt Keepers.
I've got some ideas.